Yo, what is up, gamers? My name is Russ, and welcome back to another commentary today with added face cam. I don't think I've ever done a commentary with a face cam, and I'm trying to do this one in a slightly different style to my usual way. We're actually going to watch the VOD live, and I'm going to start and stop so I can kind of pause and point at things with my mouse. Trying a new different style, so let me know in the comments if you prefer this style or my usual one where I just kind of let the footage play and just talk over it as it goes. So jumping into it then, we're starting with a plus 19 Ruby life pools, and this is on Tyrannical. And for that reason, I'm going to put my talents up on the screen and the import link down below as well in the description. But I'll be playing the Shattered Destiny Glaive Tempest Shattered Destiny Glaive Tempest Essence Break build. Now this just gives you a little bit more single target, so you'll see hopefully that reflected on the bosses and things, and yeah, just a pretty good dungeon for that. So let's just jump straight in, and I'll kind of talk through everything, you know, all my interrupts, what I did well, what I didn't do so well, what our group did well, and things like that as we go. So as the counter goes down, 6 seconds, we're going to use my Immolation Aura, and then I'm going to use my Blood Elf Silence to get Fury, I-Beam into meta before the key goes in. This just gives you a free meta at the beginning. Just make sure that you don't have like trinkets macroed into your Metamorphosis, and use the same keybind for that, or you'll pop your trinkets and they'll be wasted. So I have a separate, I do actually have my trinket macroed into my normal meta, but just for this key. But I basically meta out the spellbook with no macro. So we're going to pull up all the mobs at the start here. What you want to do on this pack particularly is that Juggernaut, that big rock looking guy. He's going to do like a frontal smash on somebody. Just make sure you move out of that. And meanwhile, you're going to be wanting to interrupt the Chill Weavers. They're going to do like an icy bolt cast on the tank, which really hurts, especially on fortified. So make sure you're interrupting those as much as possible. And then the Earth Shapers are actually going to do like a big smash as well. And those can be stopped. Instead of interrupted, they're stopped. So what I mean by that is you can stop it with stun like a Chaos Nova or any class. This doesn't just have to be about Demon Hunters, by the way. Any class, you know, you could kidney shot it on a rogue, for example. You can use your Imprison on a DH. You can use Fell Eruption if you take that talent. And you can obviously use Chaos Nova. So you want to stop the Earthbreakers and interrupt the Chill Weavers. And then there's also going to be, as you can see here, if I pause this, up on this nameplate up here, there's like a shield that they do. I'm not sure which ones. I think it's also the Chill Weavers that channel this. They like channel a shield onto a friendly. They can channel it onto any of their friendly NPCs that are in that pack. All you have to do, don't interrupt this one. Save your interrupt for the Ice Bolts. And you just want to purge. You can use your, your DH purge, or if you're a priest, you can purge magic and stuff like that. Jammies can just use purge. You just want to purge these off, or if somebody else in your group can purge, like a hunter can use trank shot, he can purge them off, I can purge them off. Try and do that on the shields, and then save it kicks and actual interrupts for the Chill Weavers. So this trash is pretty much more of the same. These like swirlies on the ground, obviously avoid those. But yeah, just going to kind of go through this, try not to overpull. I think we might have overpulled here, and I actually did make a mistake in this key already. I went into this key using the like wind trinket. I'm not sure what the name is, but it's the one from the Thea in the raid, and it turns you into like an elemental for 10 seconds. I actually accidentally equipped this. I've never used this trinket before, and I still had it macroed into my meta because it's, you know, my macro is use trinket slot 14. So I just every time I meted, I got myself standing still, which wasn't the best, to be honest, and I think I paid the price on the second boss, which we'll see later on. But it does do a ton of damage. I will give it that. That trinket does do a ton of damage. Very dangerous. So I've seen our rogue uses it. Our rogue in this run here, he uses it quite often, and it does do a lot of damage. So you know, he can kind of get away with it because he has Cloak of Shadows and like cheat death and things like that. Whereas on a DH, bit harder to get away with that. But so moving on then to Dragar. This dude, he does two abilities. He has a Steel Barrage, which is the orange swirlies going down, as you can see right now, and then he has a Blazing Rush. So because he kind of targets a person, fixates them, and then does a charge at them, first you can just sidestep the charge. So once he's kind of like locked his position, you can just sidestep it and move out of the way, but that does mean he's going to like charge across the room. Potentially he could pull extra mobs in that you don't want to fight against right now, maybe. So what we do is pull him into the boss room, but just into the entrance of the boss room. And then we fight him here, so we can just charge him into the wall and stuff like that, so he doesn't move too far. So not only is he not going to ninja pull extra mobs, but he's also like we can keep uptime on him because we just try and face him like into a wall or something. I actually did get hit here, which is very dangerous because it does leave it does a big hit on you, and it puts a dot on you as well. So if you don't die to the hit, you might die to the dot. I actually used the healing potion here, but luckily this was a tyrannical key. On a fortify key, I was almost definitely going to be dead there. So bad play by me, but learn from my mistake instead of having to do that one yourself. So once he goes down, Chill Worn is the boss. Oh, by the way, on the Earthshapers, the ability that you want to interrupt is the Tectonic Slam. They have 2 casts, I think, but the long one, the Tectonic Slam, is the one you want to be stopping, like I said at the beginning of the video, with like your, stuns and things. So this boss does a ton of damage. I believe it's been nerfed a couple times by now by the time this video goes live. It's a bit of a healing check, to be honest. Just make sure you move out with that icy thing. You don't have to, it doesn't do like massive fall off damage or anything. So just try and stand. I just try and stand on the outer edge of it. But I think as long as you're not in like the actual center of it, you'll just take the same amount of damage as everyone else anyway. So just move it out of the group and just run against the little suck mechanic that it has. Dodge the hail bombs when she puts them out. Those should most likely one-shot you. So just like a little white swirly on the floor. Just as soon as she casts hail bomb, move out of the way of those. Save some damage for this shield phase. So I mean, the whole boss kind of requires damage because the ads can kind of start trucking the tank. So you want to kill the ads quick, but you also want to burn through the shield quick and then hit the interrupt on it. And the longer that this phase goes on, the more the healer's going to have to sweat with these icy suck hole black hole things. So she's going to do 2 ad phases, and what we're going to do through these ad phases is we're just going to kind of face all these whelps. Now it's really tempting to go like crazy AoE whore mode, and that is actually beneficial. As I said, they do hurt the tank, but the healer can dispel the tank from these like ice claws or cold claws that they put on the tank. You see our tank is getting stacks up here. If he gets a certain amount, I think he gets stunned. So as long as the healer dispels at like a certain number of stacks, he's probably fine. You want to put your main damage into the actual boss and get that shield interrupted, because that's just going to pulse AoE damage on the whole group. And on top of that, obviously your healer's going to have to blow cooldowns to keep up with that. And then you're going to have less cooldowns for these, sucky, swirly things over here. So that is basically that boss. It's just going to have 2 ad waves, always 2. And then I think it's like 66 and 33 or 70 and 40% or something. And then other than that, this phase is pretty easy. Just dodge those hail bombs, which are those, swirlies, which turns into the spikes. If you do run or dash over the spikes or anything, you will get stunned and pretty much one shot, especially on tyrannical. So avoid that one. And yeah, we're just cleaning up the boss pretty quick. So as long as you make it through the 2 shield/ad phases, you should be kind of good, as long as your healer doesn't go or run out of cooldowns or anything like that. As I said, I think they've nerfed this a couple times now, so the healing check is a little bit less stressful than it was in the first few weeks, especially on tyrannical. And this key, honestly, kind of a breeze, to be honest. At least on these affixes, right? I think at time of recording, it's Grievous week. So this one on Grievous, and I think maybe the first tyrannical week was Grievous. That one I can see being not so fun as a healer. I think most people are going to be skipping Grievous weeks in terms of key pushing and stuff in future. So we'll see kind of how that goes. But yeah, take the dragon, fly up the top, and now we have to face off against the Thunderhead. Now this mob is kind of difficult, I guess. It's more of a healing thing. As you see here, it's just doing a storm breath. That's just going to shoot in a direction. Just move out of that one. It's pretty easy. And then what's going to happen is going to put a dot, as you can see now, my weak auras. It's going to put a dot on 2 people. So let's put it on our druid and our rogue here. Now, the healer's obviously going to dispel 1 person and then heal, like spot heal the second. But when the healer dispels or this expires, I believe it does like an AoE pulse to people around. So if you're getting dispelled, try and move away from people. I guess if you have it, just try and move away from people. Ideally, if you're on comms or something, you want your healer to you know, call who they're dispelling so they can move out potentially, so it doesn't do damage to everybody. Because if you see the spell's going to go down in a second, it's probably going to do like a big AoE pulse. But he moved out. Yeah, he moved out. So he's standing out here, so it didn't. But now when the rogues one expires, you see the rest of our HP went down. So just be careful there. Or if you're a rogue or you're going to cloak a shadows or something, move away from people, cloak it, move back in. Other than that, this thing doesn't really do too much. It's much safer to pull this one than it is the Fire Drake on the other side. So we usually play the Thunderhead and we ignore the, I think it's called the Flame Gullet. We ignore that one, and I'll show you how to skip that one when we get there as well. So a lot of this trash is going to be kind of samey up here. We've got Cinder Weavers, which are basically the same as the Chill Weavers were downstairs. They have Cinder Bolt instead of Ice Bolt. Kind of common theme of the trash in this dungeon is you got ice stuff and fire stuff, or thunder stuff and fire stuff and ice stuff. Just kind of like elemental things. So you want to interrupt these Cinder Weavers, and then you want to be nuking down or focusing your damage on the destroyers, because these destroyers are going to do this unstoppable cast here called Inferno. You see it does like a big AoE and then it puts a dot on everybody. So that's just going to be the dangerous thing, and especially in combination with those with these Cinder Weavers Cinder Bolt casts. If you have like an Inferno go off and you have the dot on you, and then you get Cinder Bolted or double Cinder Bolted, even worse, then you're probably dead, especially on fortified. Like this was not even fortified, and you saw how much health that stuff is doing. So you can you don't want to purge the Cinder Weavers. They put a dot on themselves, which or like a magic debuff on themselves. It's tempting to purge it. I'll show you. I'll pause it next time it goes on the nameplates. It's tempting to purge it, but actually I think increases their damage taken. So you want to leave that on them. And then these Flame Dancers you saw there, I could purge that one. Those are the ones you do want to purge. So interrupt the Cinder Weavers. Don't purge the Cinder Weavers. And then the Flame Dancers, when they hit 0% HP, they're going to do like a final dance, like final flame dance thing. They're going to spin around, put like swirlies everywhere. Those ones you do want to be ready to purge. If you're playing a DH, obviously you've got your Consume Magic. Any other purge class can do it as well. You can use your Blood Elf Silence if you're a Blood Elf, or what's it called? Arcane Torrent. So as you see here, I can probably kick that one. Yeah, I did. So we want to focus down the Destroyer here, and then this one's going to do, as soon as it spawns, they go Blaze of Glory, and it puts a shield on itself, which you either have to go through the shield or you can just simply purge it. You can see it up on the nameplate here. So it's doing like a spin, and you see these swirlies are going everywhere. Obviously you don't want to do that, but I think it might even just do AoE damage as well. But then you just purge it and it dies. It just dies from the purge. So that's what you want to do on those ones. And then you're just kind of working around, and all the trash packs around here are the same. So we're going to get now to the side where the Flame Gullet's on. And we got 2 more destroyers to go. And we're just killing stuff as we run here, because these Scorchlings don't give much percentage, but it's a little bit percentage. And, you know, if we're skipping one of the big fire dragons like here with the Flame Gullet, then you do want to wait for it. So you can see it up here in the distance. It was just off my screen up there. It's landed. So we're going to take this pack, and it will actually land kind of behind us where we just were standing. So ideally, to be super safe, you actually want to take this pack up the staircase, or like kind of over here. It won't land between these 2 spawns. It's like one up there at the top of my screen, and then one down here at the bottom, like just behind off the screen here. So you either want to stay kind of in this area or put it like up the staircase. That's definitely a surefire, safe way. If it happens to be there when you do need to go that way, just wait. It'll take like 10 seconds to take off, but it's way better and more convenient than fighting it. So what we do is just, you know, do this pack the same as usual, interrupting the Cinder Weavers. We're on comms, so we're calling our kicks and things. And also, as you saw there, everything got knocked up. It's going to put a debuff on someone. I think it's a destroyer. It puts like a little circle around you. It's tempting to move out, but you can actually, here you sit here, it's on a hunter. So it's a 3-second debuff. If there's trash mobs up, you can actually, it's just going to do, you know, damage to him and everyone around him. So you can actually move this into the trash, and it'll do friendly fire damage to the trash pack. I believe it does damage and knocks them up, but if it doesn't do damage, it at least knocks them up. So you can use it like as an extra stop or interrupt for the trash in here. So you probably won't move it now because stuff's pretty much dead. But if this was like the start of the pack, you can move it in and just stand here, and everyone else obviously get out of it, and it will act as, you know, some friendly fire damage. And then obviously you want to move out the big flaming circles. So here I think we're just going to run now because the flame gullet's not here. And we're going to pull this whole pack right up this staircase, because the flame gullet will land just here where we ran through. And I think it might also come and land just here. So we want to get all this trash away from this area as quick as we can. So I'm actually going for an interrupt on this farm mob to make it walk in and follow the tank, because the tank's body pulled it or, you know, done some kind of aggro on it. I'm just going to interrupt this one so it runs. I'm going to pull this whole pack up the staircase out the way here of the dragon, because it will come down and land while we're fighting this pack. So now, same old. Making sure that I'm actually not on the Inferno destroyer here. Interrupting the Cinderweavers. I just got the kick right at the end there. Ready to purge the Flame Dancer as well. That's why I'm probably targeting that one. And then I should actually be single target putting my damage into the destroyer here. But I'm ready for the Flame Dance. Also, you could see it going on just there. That one you actually do want to stop. It's just going to do AoE to everybody. You can stop that one with Imprison. You can stop it with a stun. So my bad there. I probably should have, I have my Chaos Nova ready here. I actually also have my Imprison. So I probably just didn't see that one in the moment. But if you see a Flame Dancer, you can stop the Flame Dance as well in these packs, which will make life much easier for your group, especially on fortified keys, right? So the dragon probably is just over there right now, but we're just going to run and hug the wall. I actually went for the safe way here, and then it's not here, so we can carry on over here. And you can actually just hug the wall and skip. There's like a patrol that comes up and down this pathway. You can actually just skip this. So that's the patrol. And then we're just going to go past the tree. We actually shrouded for safety, but you don't really need to. You can mind soothe it and things like that if you have a priest. And now we're getting ready to set up for the boss. So I think we were just waiting for the tank's cooldowns there for a second. And now this boss can go south pretty quickly. So what we want to do, I'll pause it here for a second, is we're going to spawn an ad. So we want to bait the spawn. You can see this weaker is actually calling it here, but it depends on the energy of the boss. So at 100 energy, the boss is going to spawn an ad. My timers aren't working in this key for some reason, so hopefully you should have some timers for it. The timers are pretty accurate, especially if you have bigwigs for the meteor and the ad spawn. So we want to spawn the ad close to the boss, and then it's going to pretty much always alternate between boulders and ads. So it's going to do an ad spawn, and then immediately after, it's going to spawn a boulder to throw. So we ideally want to be moving counterclockwise around the ring here, because we obviously left trash up over this side. We want to be moving counterclockwise around the ring. So we want to be placing as much fire and lava on the ground as possible over this side, away from where we're moving. So we want to be baiting the meteors and the boulders into this direction here, and spawning the ads a little bit ahead of where we want to be. So we want to spawn the first ad here and then bait the boulders over here. And then we want to spawn the next ad over here and then bait the boulders back this way. You see what I mean? So we're going to spawn the ad here. Just make sure you move out before the swirly goes off. Then get straight on the ad, and you want to have your kicks ready for this. So what we have is our tank's always going to take the first one. The first Inferno, you can't interrupt that one. And then Roaring Blaze, you can. So the DK takes the first, and then we have me, I think, assigned for the second. I stupidly, here it is, I got stuck in the trinket here. I got 0.1 seconds left on trinket, but the ad's about to go off. So I think I'm probably spamming Fell Rush right now, but I don't quite make it out. I also have Thundering, so they're going to have to clear without me. This would have been really bad if I had a red one, actually. Probably it could have been almost like a wipe if I had a red Thundering here, because I wouldn't have been able to clear. So really, really bad. I don't like this trinket. I've never actually used it in the dungeon since this moment happened. But yeah, once the ad dies, you're going to move out. And then immediately after, pretty much if you kill the ad quick enough, you're going to have a boulder spawn. So I'm going to die here. They're going to res me. And then we're going to immediately bait a boulder back into the lava here is kind of the plan. So I will actually wait for the boulder spawn before I take the res. And then I can see the beam there, so I know to instantly move out. So now we want to ideally kind of be over here. We don't want to bait the ad over here, because that's going to be really inconvenient for the next boulder and placement and stuff. If you bait the boulder into a tree or the wall or something, it's going to actually do a massive blow up instantly. Or if you get hit by it, it will blow up and do a huge patch of lava on the ground as well. So you really do need to dodge the boulders. So we want to spawn this ad ideally like a little bit ahead of the boss here so that we can then bait the boulder back. So we'll see where we get the spawn now. I actually got it in quite a bad spot, to be honest. We should have spawned it a little bit ahead. I think I was calling to spawn ahead. Now we're going to get boulder spawn on us. There's the boulder going down over that direction. So that should be fine because we can just stand where I am here on this ad. First cast goes through. You can't interrupt that one. Tank should take that one. Actually, I took that one. And then we have the hunters and the rogues kick. So I think the rogue kicks. Then we're going to move out and then we're going to bait a boulder. And the fight just kind of repeats like that. So we're standing here now. So the boulder goes into the lava patch. Then we're moving a little bit ahead. Hopefully going to spawn the ad around where my mouse is now. If we stack up on this side of the boss, it should spawn on this side of the boss. So there we go. Spawn it a little bit ahead of where we are. Move out. Boulder's going to come next. So we're going to position it back through the lava. Move out of the way of the boulder. And then hit the ad. And then we just keep doing that. Moving out each time. Making sure we hit our kicks on the ad. Because it already does the Inferno, which really, really hurts, especially on Tyrannical. And then if the Roaring Blaze goes up on top of that, goes off on top of that, it's going to be basically a wipe. So boulder into lava, bait the next ad, and then at some point you can stop putting your damage onto the ads and just kick them, and then focus the boss. So ad's going to spawn. It's a kind of okay spawn, but we're going to have to bait the boulder before we go to it. So either, yeah, the boulder got baited in a good direction there, just away from the boss. You can either wait before you switch to the ad, or you can bait the boulder over the ad, but as long as you bait it on like one side so that you have room to stand in and hit it on the other, right? And then here, we actually probably could have just committed the boss there, but we went for the ad anyway for safety, and then boulder goes back into the lava. And you can honestly move all the way because you've cleared this whole ring. You know, we left the patrol up on the far side over here, but we cleared all the trash down here, and you can just take this boss like all the way around the ring. You'll pretty much never run out of space, so it's always better to move a little bit further than to try and like skimp out on space, right? You don't want to use like too little space because you have so much, and the boss won't reset or anything. You know, I don't think it's even possible probably to reset this boss, because I think the idea is that you use that space that you've cleared around that ring. So on the trash down here then, we are going to be dealing with these channelers. You can see the purple marked mob here is a channeler. There's also a bunch of thunderclouds. These actually just kill themselves. You don't need to purge them. You don't need to DPS them down or anything like that. They'll actually just throw themselves at a range player. So range will have to deal with some swirlies on their feet, which you just move out of. But those mobs will actually just kill themselves. So you want to be putting your damage into the channeler first and foremost. That one is going to do a cast, and I'll show you again on the next one. That channeler is going to do a cast, which is kind of just like a big AoE on the group. And these warriors just kind of thunderclap people. They don't really do too much. It's more of a tank thing. So you got fire channelers and thunder channelers. So we just did a thunder channeler. This one's a fire channeler. This one's really, really, really important that you kick. But it doesn't have like a big AoE. The big AoE is, or like the kick that you want to be going for, it's going to do like a channel, like a laser beam into someone. And it's basically just going to like slap them. But here we've kind of fucked up. We've pulled 2 fire channelers and a lightning one. So in this situation, we want to drop all kicks on the lightning one. We don't need to kick the lightning one. It's just like a bolt on the tank or something. We need to save our kicks for the fire channelers. But at the same time, the lightning guy is going to be doing his like thunderstorm kind of thing. So I might have to drop a darkness on this thunderstorm. As you can see, my darkness is ready. My healer will probably call me to drop that one, but the tank's taking a lot of damage. And we just kicked, you can see that I just kicked the fire guy's cast, which I'll tell you the name of in just a second. But there it is. It's going off now. You can see this one might not be getting kicked on purple right now, and it's probably going to do like a ton of damage to somebody. So you can see there it's channeling into the hunter, and it basically almost one-shots him. In fact, he might go down here if we don't kick. We did get a kick on it in the end. And then here the thunder channel is doing a lightning storm. So probably want to drop my darkness in a second, or maybe my healer said on the next one, because everyone's looking kind of okay right now. But this is the thing, especially in Fortified, it's going to really, really hurt. So you do want to basically focus the thunder guy, so he gets as little lightning storms off as possible, and then do your kicks on the fire guys. And you can also purge these guys. I'm not 100% sure what this debuff, this magic buff does. It's probably like a haste buff or something like that. So there it was. I kicked Moon, and then the next one should be going on purple. I'm going to really try and pause it to see the name of it. I think it's called Flash Fire. It went underneath my Thundering. Yeah, Flash Fire on the rogue here. So we actually have two kicks up right now. So hopefully someone's going to kick this one. But I'm putting my damage, as you can see, into orange. So the DK actually kicked that. That's good. So now we should be focusing orange and kicking purple. And the warriors, again, they don't really do that much. So that's kind of the play for these. I've got a kick here. So I'm almost going to go down. I'm actually on 1 HP in a lightning storm. So I'm probably dead here, to be honest, unless I get the clutchest potion off at all time. But had this channeling on me inside of a lightning storm, you can see how quickly it can kind of get out of hand. I'm actually on straight up 1 HP. So I'm probably going to go down. Yeah. And I'll just release because I think they can handle that. The pack was quite low. So I'll just fast forward it now to pretty much getting back there. Now we have the kind of mini boss before the boss. So all you need to do on this Rivati guy is, or lady, should I say, is interrupt her. Just have a kick rotation. She's also going to do the lightning storm. So the exact same mechanics, just going to do a bunch of AoE damage. So you do want to get her down as quick as possible. But she has a lot of HP. Even on Tyrannical, she has quite a lot of HP. And then she's going to do this Tempest Storm Shield. So that will basically get more and more powerful over time. The longer that you're in combat with her, the bigger the storm shields, I believe. Or I think it might be dependent on how many of these like little storm surge adds are up as well around her. I'm not 100% sure how it works, actually, these thunderclouds. But if she does a storm shield while there's a lot of thunderclouds up, she get a big shield. The longer you're in combat with her, the bigger the shields seem to be. So you're going to have to like keep going through these shields while she's weaving in these thunderstorms or lightning storms as well. And then these thunderclouds, as you see, they just kill themselves. Like they dash to someone, they kill themselves. They don't really, you can just pull these to, you know, they don't take very long to kill. You can actually just engage them and basically forget about them. You could even pull them with the boss as long as people will dodge them. So on the boss, you want to be focusing at Kraka as much as possible. So every time the dragon is down and we tank the boss between these two statues, this will mean that the dragon is like quite easily accessible. We want him to be pretty much in range because he can't land where these dragons are, so it limits the options for landing pretty much to this little kind of oval between these statues. And every time that the dragon's down, we want to be putting damage on him. Now the boss will phase when I think either of them get to 50%. So we want to get the dragon as close as to 50% as possible before we phase. And ideally, you actually want the dragon to, you want to stop DPS just before 50 until the dragon lands. And then you want to like nuke it as soon as it starts landing at that, you know, just before it hits 50. So we actually made a call in this run where the dragon, I think it was on like 52%, and we actually stopped DPS on it because the hunter's just full time on the dragon. We're hitting, as melee DPS, we're hitting the dragon when we can, when it's like in range. And then the boss is kind of secondary to that. So ideally you want to kind of keep this first phase going basically as long as you can until both bosses are just about to hit 50%. And then you want to let the dragon land and then start nuking it. So you get like a whole breath of nuking it before you actually face the second phase, which is the hard phase when the boss actually mounts on top of the dragon. So you'll see it as we go, but I'm just hitting the dragon here while it's in range, and then I'll switch back to the boss when the dragon flies off. It's generally going to alternate like doing a breath, and then it'll make the winds blow you, and then it'll come down and do a breath, and then make the winds blow you. So the winds don't do too much. The boss does a little AoE interrupt. So the dragon's down here again. We're going to hit it when we can. And then just putting our secondary damage onto the boss, really. First phase is pretty easy. Last phase is pretty easy. But when the boss mounts up on the dragon, that's when it gets hard, and that's when we're going to kind of bloodlust. So we actually did like the perfect phasing here. Someone's going to get these debuffs, which is going to put like fire on the ground. If you touch fire, you'll get a debuff which puts fire on the ground, which is not only going to use up floor space, but it also does an absolute ton of damage. So you really want to avoid the breath, because that's going to basically kill you. And also even just walking or like jumping or dashing or running through that fire, even just for a second, is much more beneficial to just wait and go around it and be safe than actually get that dot, because you're going to be causing not only the room to be filled up with fire, therefore increasing the chance of more people having to run through it or make that silly decision. but also you're going to probably get pretty close to dying, especially on Tyrannical. So dragon comes down, we're putting our focus back onto the dragon. As you can see, it's about to go to probably like 55 here, and then the boss is at 66. So we're going to stop on the dragon and wait for it to land again, and then we're going to start hard nuking it. So it's going to get the boss to as close to 50 as we can here. The hunter's now stopped on the dragon. You can see it's at 52. As soon as it lands and starts the breath, we hard switch to it because it's kind of like stuck in the animation of doing the breath now. So we can get like another 10% on the dragon here. It's going down to like 40, 39, 38, and then it has to run over here, and then the boss lands on it, right? So we actually got the phase at 30% HP on the dragon. The boss is at 50, and the dragon's at 25, and now we just bloodlust and we're nuking it. So this phase was super, super short for us. If you can kind of pull that off, it's going to make this boss really, really much, much easier. And it's only done one breath. We got like one set of debuffs, where the second phase is hard because it puts that flame debuff on 3 people. And that's going to be very, very hard to heal. But as soon as the dragon's dead, it stops doing that. And it goes back to phase 1, where you literally just have to deal with one person getting the debuff. And the boss just does a tank smash, which can be dispelled by the healer. And then AoE interrupt. And that's literally it. And the boss will still do the winds. So you do have to watch out for the winds moving the fire around in this phase. Other than that, you could just pull it all the way back to the entrance, so it's away from this dragon's corpse, and we can actually see the floor a bit easier. But super, super simple. As you can see on a 19, we still had 9 minutes left here. So yeah, pretty easy key, honestly. Even on Tyrannical, this one was really scary. Probably the hardest part of the dungeon, I'd say, is probably the first boss. Just for the healing check, that seems to be the scariest part. If you can get through the first boss, especially on Tyrannical, just take the rest of the key kind of easy. As you can see on the timer, it's pretty free. It's quite easy to make silly mistakes like pulling that flame gullet trash dragon up the top that we skipped around. Just hit your interrupts and make sure you dodge that, and pretty easy key as far as it goes. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Maybe this new format was good, I don't know. I feel like I maybe made the video a little bit longer by stopping for so much, but hopefully that was beneficial, me stopping and kind of over explaining things a little bit to give you a better idea, because I know that for me, learning, like, the more is better, right? So as my damage breakdown, if you're interested, you can see how much that trinket actually did there. Kind of a lot of damage for a trinket, to be honest, but I would not recommend. But if you can pull it off, then, and yeah, that's the Ruby Life Ball. So hopefully you enjoyed. Feel free to watch these kind of things live as well on my live stream, twitch.tv/JustRuss, and I'll put a link to that down in the description below. Let me know if this style of commentary worked for you or not, or if I should go back to the old style or just mix it up. Maybe I'll just do a bit of both. And yeah, put a comment of some kind and like the goddamn video. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. As always, peace.